Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel Dr. Barkis Ophthalmology Tutorials. Today I will be discussing about the instruments which is going to be a part of your practical examination. In this video I will be mainly concentrating on how to identify that particular instrument and what are the uses of that instrument as well as the possible viva questions with that instrument. Okay, so without much delay, let's begin our video. Ophthalmic instruments have some peculiar nature, like they have to be precise, efficient and well controlled for the given surgical task. Okay, and whenever somebody is designing the ophthalmic instrument, they have to keep so many aspects in their mind, like the dimensions of the instrument, the weight of the instrument, center of gravity, the balance and the strength needed to achieve the particular task. And each instrument is provided with some of the serrations or the notches which will help to hold the instruments properly. Okay, that will give a firm grip to hold the instruments. Okay, so many instruments are given with the serrations or the notches. As you can observe here, most of the instruments fall in their length less than 14 centimeters. Okay, so as to do the microsurgical procedures under the microscope efficiently. So the material with which these instruments are manufactured is also very important. Like they have to be very light in weight. Okay, they should be non-corrosive. At the same time, they should be sharp at the edges and they should be non-reflective. Like it should have the matte finish. Otherwise, the reflections will cause problem when you are doing the surgery. So in this aspect, they use two material to manufacture these instruments. That one is titanium and the stainless steel. Each have their pros and cons. Titan is very lighter in weight. Okay, resists corrosion and it is non-magnetic and it can have the matte finish, but the only problem is it can't maintain the sharp edges. That is the problem with titanium instrument. Whereas the stainless steel is very useful for when you are manufacturing the cutting instruments, but it is prone for corrosion, especially when it is not kept dry and clean. Okay, so let's discuss each instrument one by one now. So these are the instruments which are used in your Chalesian surgery. So this is the Chalesian clamp and these two are the Chalesian scoop. Okay, so let's see the Chalesian clamp now. So this is the Chalesian clamp. This is very short, that is less than 15 centimeter in length. It has a serrations to hold the instrument firmly, and as you can see here we have the screw to adjust to the thickness of the lid. Okay, and here at the tip we have one open end and one closed end. So whenever you are doing Chalesian surgery, so suppose we have the lid here, upper eyelid. Okay, then the open end will be towards the conjunctiva, whereas the closed end will come towards the skin side. So open efficiently and place your eyelid here. Take this as eyelid. So place this eyelid here and tighten it and then avert it. So you have the Chalesian on the conjunctival side. Then you can proceed with your Chalesian surgery, that is incision and curettage. Don't use the word drainage here, incision and curettage, because you are curating all the contents of the Chalesian. So hope you can easily identify this instrument. So we have the scoops here, scoops of different sizes, so which can be used depending upon the thickness of the Chalesian. So this is to scoop out the contents. As I told, once you avert the conjunctival side, you will put a incision here. Okay, so this is also commonly asked question, which type of incision you use. That is the vertical incision we use when you are doing surgery on the conjunctival side. Then scoop out the material, that is the Chalesian that is the meibomian secretion which is there, scoop out with the Chalesian scoop and then proceed with your surgery. So here with these two instruments, they can ask you about the Chalesian, internal hardyolum, external hardyolum and the management of all these. Okay. So these are the instruments which are used for small incision cataract surgery. I will be explaining one by one now. Okay. One is the lid speculum. Okay. So this is also called as Barker's lid speculum or the universal eye speculum, because it can be used for both eyes. So if you use like this, it is for the right eye. If you turn like this, you can use it for the left eye. It is a wire speculum. Okay, uses is to retract the eyelids for any of the intraocular or the extraocular surgeries. So that is universal eye speculum. So once you have retracted the eyelid, the next step is you will put the superior rectus sutures, right? So this is the superior rectus muscle holding forceps. So as you can see, it is a swan shaped instrument. Okay, so this will be sitting at this junction will be sitting at the limbus and this will catch hold of the superior rectus. So the edge is serrated, it is swan shaped. Okay, these are the identification marks, like it is a swan shaped thing. The edge has a tooth here to hold the superior rectus. Uses are mainly to hold the superior rectus muscle to put the bridal suture in small incision cataract surgery. So the next instrument is the colibri forceps. Okay, so this is the forceps which has the serrations here to give a firm grip for the instrument, and at the tip we have again the tooth edge here. So you can appreciate this has a fine teeth at the tip to hold the tissues firmly. So this will help to hold the globe. So next step is you will make the conjunctival flap. For that you will be using corneal scissors. So are you clear with this instrument? This is the colibri forceps used to hold the tissues of the eye. This is the corneoscleral scissors, okay, used to cut the conjunctiva and the cornea in any of the ophthalmic surgeries. So as you can see, it is a scissor shaped instrument at the tip. Okay, so it has a cutting edge at the tip and posteriorly it is locked to provide the scissoring effect. Okay, so this is corneoscleral scissors. So after this we will make the scleral incision. For that we need the BP handle. So this is BP handle. So here at the tip of the BP handle means bark purchase handle or the knife. So here we will be fixing the blades. We have 11 number blade as well as the 15 number blade. So the blades will be fixed at the tip to make the incision. We have three important keratomes here. One is the crescent, the second one is the sideboard blade, and the third is the entry or the extension blade. Crescent knife, the tip is U-shaped and it has cutting edge all over. Okay, so this is crescent knife used to make the scleral tunnel. This is 15 degree sideboard blade. The blade is angulated at 15 degrees to the handle. It has one edge which is sharp and the other edge is blunt. Okay, and the tip is also sharp, used to make the side port entry. So the next instrument what we have is the entry blade. Okay, so as you can see, it is V-shaped. Okay, the crescent blade was U-shaped and this entry blade is V-shaped, and the tip is also sharp, and on either side it is having the cutting edge. This is entry blade used to make the entry when you are doing SACS. So once you have entered into the anterior chamber, you will stain the anterior capsule and then you do the anterior capsular excision. Then you will do the hydrodissection. For that we have the hydrodissection cannula. It's also called as lacrimal cannula. As you can see, the tip of the lacrimal cannula is blunt. Okay, you will be injecting the saline or the solution from this end. Uses are to check for the lacrimal patency. You can use it for the lacrimal sac syringing or to inject the dyes or the solution into the anterior chamber. Like you can inject the Trypan blue or even the BSS to the anterior chamber. So this is lacrimal cannula. Once you are done with the anterior capsular excision, you will be doing the hydrodissection, and after that you will have to flip the lens into the anterior chamber. For that we use the instrument called as Sinskey hook or the dialer. So Sinskey hook, it is angulated. As you can see, it is angulated and has a tip which is bent. So this is Sinskey hook, which is used to flip the lens from the bag into the anterior chamber and also to dial the intraocular lens into the bag. Okay. So once the lens is in the anterior chamber, you will have to take it out. So for that we use the instrument called as the Vectis. So this is the Vectis which has a loop here at the tip. Okay. And it can be even the irrigating Vectis also, where there will be openings here and you will be injecting the saline from the posterior end and continuously you are increasing the pressure in the anterior chamber. This is the plain Vectis. So this instrument will be passed below the lens, and over the lens you can use this Sinskey hook again to hold the lens and then take it out of the anterior chamber. This is the Vectis. So now we have removed the lens from the eye. Now we will be giving the wash to take out the cortical matter. For that we have two-way irrigation aspiration cannula. So here at this edge we will be attaching one syringe, and this irrigation aspiration cannula has a peculiar design. It has two openings. Okay, one is for the irrigation and one is for the aspiration from the anterior chamber, used to aspirate the cortical matter from the anterior chamber as well as to aspirate the blood from the anterior chamber in case of high FEM. So this is two-way irrigation aspiration cannula. So now we have removed the cortical matter. Now we want to insert the lens. For that we use the forceps called as McPherson's forceps. So this is the McPherson's forceps. So you may get confused with this colibri and the McPherson's forceps. Both are designed almost same, but as you can see, it is angulated here and the tip has the teeth in case of your colibri forceps. But this is the plain forceps. There is no teeth here and the shafts are very flat. So these two are the shaft which is flat so as to not to damage the intraocular lens. So I will be holding the intraocular lens and inserting it into the anterior chamber. This is McPherson's IOL holding forceps. And now if we want to do the suturing, we have the needle holder. Okay, this is the needle holder. Again, it is fashioned like a scissor. It has locking system at one end, and because of this it will be having the firm grip at the tip. But the tip is not sharp here. It is blunt to hold the needle. The close instrument for this is your corneoscleral scissors. So you can appreciate that this tip of the corneoscleral scissor is sharp like the scissors itself. But here the needle holder has the blunt tip as well as the blunt edges, so that just to hold the needle. And in the one more variety of the needle holder, we have this locking system here. Okay, we'll place the needle at the tip and lock the system so that you can easily put the sutures. The instrument what we use to suture is the suture tire. Again, the tip of the suture tire is flat from inside. Okay, like the McPherson's forceps. The instruments have the flat surface from inside, but it is curved here in case of McPherson's. But in suture tire, it is straight. The suture tire can also be curved. So this is the calipers. As you can see, it is numbered from 0 to 2 centimeters. So depending upon your surgery, what you are planning, you can measure the amount of incision or whatever you want to do. So this is the calipers used in your small incision cataract surgery to measure the incision size. Most commonly used in your squint surgeries to measure the amount of recession and resection you have planned. Okay, so this is the calipers. We have muzzle hooks here. This is the muzzle hook. Okay, as you can see, these are hockey shaped instruments. Okay, in this instrument it is having one more angulation at the tip to prevent the slippage of muzzle. Use is used in case of your even the superior rectus bridal suture also to push the globe downwards so that you will catch the superior rectus. It is also used in the squint surgeries to hold the muzzle, also in case of RD surgeries where you will have to handle the muscles. So this is muzzle hook. So this is the artery forceps. Okay, as you can see, this is also shaped like the scissor. It has a locking system here and the edges are serrated. That is, the tip is serrated so as to hold the tissues firmly. It can be used to catch the bleeding vessel in DCR surgeries and also to hold and catch the sutures which you have placed when you are doing the surgeries. Okay, this is the artery forceps which comes in various sizes. Okay, it can even be the straight artery forceps or it can be curved artery forceps. The common thing is it will have a locking system. It is shaped like a scissor and it has the serrations at the edge. So let me repeat the confusing instruments. So this is the needle holder, this is the corneoscleral scissor. Needle holder has the blunt tip, whereas the corneoscleral scissor has the sharp cutting edge. The colibri forceps and the McPherson's forceps. The colibri has the teeth at the end, it is curved, whereas the McPherson's forceps, which is used to hold the intraocular lens, has the flat base at the tip. These are the keratomes which are used in cataract surgery. First one is the crescent, which has the U-shaped end and the cutting edge is present all over, used to make the scleral tunnel. This is the side port blade, angulated at 15 degrees to the shaft, as one cutting edge and the other is sharp. This is the entry blade, okay, which has V-shaped end and it is also having cutting edge on either side. So let me just revise the instruments now. So this is the superior rectus holding forceps, the crescent blade, entry blade, side port blade, okay, BP handle, the lacrimal cannula, two-way irrigation aspiration cannula, colibri forceps, McPherson's lens holding forceps, the wire vectis, universal eye speculum, calipers, artery forceps, muzzle hook, this is one more type of muzzle hook, corneoscleral scissors, needle holder, one more design of the needle holder, tires. Okay, so these are the instruments which are used in your cataract surgery. This is Desmarais lid retractor, okay, to retract the eyelids in case of blepharospasm patients, as well as to double avert the eyelids to visualize the superior fornix. Desmarais lid retractors. This is the optic nerve head guide. It has an opening here, so it will fit into the optic nerve. Then you will be cutting the optic nerve in case of your enucleation surgeries. Then the questions will be on enucleation and evisceration, indications for enucleation, evisceration and other destructive surgeries of eye, which I have discussed in my previous videos on on theory exams made easy series, so you can go through those videos for the Viva questions. This is a type of lid retractor. It is self-retaining lid retractor used mainly in case of your destructive surgeries like enucleation and evisceration, where these flanges will hold the lid and you will be separating this with this screw. So you will be adjusting the amount of lid retraction you want with this screw and then proceed with your surgery. Okay, so this is self-retaining lid retractor. The next instrument is the Tukes knife. It's a flat short blade with a semicircular blunt dissecting edge. Okay, so this is the semicircular edge which is blunt but still is able to dissect the things. It is used in your pterygium surgery to dissect the conjunctival tissue from the cornea, and be used in lamellar keratoplasty also to separate the corneal lamellae, and it is also used in case of trabeculectomy for the partial thickness dissection of the scleral layer. Okay, so this is Tukes knife. So one more instrument is the epilation forceps. Okay, as you can see, it is very short stout instrument, okay, which has a broad edge at the tip. As you saw in the other instruments, the tip was little longer and slender, but here it is blunt and it is short, but the under surface or the inner surface has the flat edges which will help to hold the eyelashes and do the epilation. Indications are like removal of the eyelashes in case of your trichiasis, dystichiasis. Okay, so this is epilation forceps. So let's move on to the instruments which are used in case of your DCR or the DCT surgery. So the common instruments I have already explained in the SSCS set. Now we will see the specific instruments which are used in DCR surgery. So the first one is the punctum dilator. It is also called as Nettelship's punctum dilator, where the edge is like the pencil tip. Okay, it is used to dilate the punctum in case of stenosed or narrow punctum. So you will just put the instrument in the punctum and then just move the instrument like this. So that will open up the punctum. Then you can go ahead with your lacrimal syringing. These are various probes called as Bowman's probe. These are the set of straight metal instruments. Okay, it has the metal wires on the end with the flat surface at the center to help to hold the instrument, as well as it is numbered depending upon the thickness. So we have the Bowman's probe which are numbered from 0 to 8. So depending upon the thickness of the punctum, you can use this to do the probing. Okay, so the uses are to do the probing in case of the pediatric age group. It is also used to do the probe test, which will say whether it is a hard stop or the soft stop when you are suspecting the obstruction in the lacrimal passage system. So these are Bowman's probe. So this is the instrument which is used to do the nasal packing. Okay, so it has a very long end to go into the nose. From the tip you will be pushing the gauze to the nasal cavity to start with your DCR surgery. These are the cat's paw which are used to retract the skin and the orbicularis oculi muscle in the lacrimal sac area. Okay, used in lacrimal sac surgery, that is DCR. So this is the bone punch which is used to cut the nasal bone when you are doing the lacrimal sac surgery. As you can see, when you close this, it will cut the tissue which is held here. So the nasal bone is engaged here, and then you will be closing this to cut the bone and to create the ostium. This is bone punch used in DCR surgery. Next instrument is the lacrimal sac dissector and the curate. So it has both the components. This is the dissector end and this is the curate end. Okay, as you can see, it has the hollow. So it is used to curate the things, and this is the lacrimal sac dissector used in lacrimal sac surgery, that is DCR again. This is the bone gauge. Okay, as you can see, it is a spatulated thing at the end. All these DCR instruments are quite lengthy compared to your SSCS instruments which were used for intraocular surgeries. So that is one differentiating point. This is the metallic sturdy instrument which has the spatula like thing called as bone gauge. It is used to cut the irregular margins which are created when you do the ostium. Okay, bone gauge. So this is the chisel, okay, which is again used to cut the bone during your DCR surgery. So as you can see, the tip is sharp, the handle is very long and stout. So the instrument is placed like this along the bone which you want to cut, and then with the help of hammer. So this is the hammer which is used. You will cut out the bone. Two instruments, that is the chisel and the hammer, are used in case of your DCR surgery. So let me repeat the instruments which are used in DCR surgery. Nettelship's punctum dilator, Bowman's probes, cat's paw, okay, chisel and a hammer. This is the bone punch, okay, This is the lacrimal sac dissector and the curette. Instrument used to do the nasal packing. This is the bone gauge. Okay. So these are the instruments which are used in your DCR surgery. So the viva questions related to it are DCR and DCT and the lacrimal system. So all those viva questions is covered in my videos on the lacrimal system. Please go through that playlist. Okay. So this is about the instruments which will be asked in your practical exams. So I will be covering about the drugs, lenses as well as the strips like fluorescent strip and the shimmer strips in my next video. So hope this video on instruments is useful to all of you. Please do make use of this and do well in your practical exams. And if you like my videos, please do subscribe to my channel. Press the bell icon for further notifications. Please do like and share my videos. Thank you so much.